Fine. So one quick recap. The subject that we were dealing with was business environment. If you are in a business, you need to understand the environment, you need to have a vision of the future, and you need to know the past of your business or in whatever industry you are into. Only then you can run your business in a better way, right? So with this quote, there is another quote which says the business environment remains challenging, but you have a good if you have a good strategy, there is gold in all of this, right? You guys remember all these slides, right? So business environment is always challenging, but if you have that strategic mindset, then you can obviously find gold in everything of it, right? We took the example of Jio, which was a digital revolution, where in this case, Jio company utilized technological environment as well as political and legal environment, where they got all the clearances for getting into 4G, all the clearance from the legal environment to give internet facility free for the customers, right? On one hand, go digital, go cashless were the things that were happening in the government, and on the other hand, what did he do? He made use of this environment and he came up with digital, free digital way of what? He gave a free access to go digital, right? To go cashless, and that is how he utilized political and legal environment also. So ITC was another example that we took, right? So they foresaw a few challenges in the environment. If our political or if the legal environment bans tobacco products, they are basically into tobacco products. If the government or the legal environment bans tobacco product on one fine day, so what should they do? So they got into all these different businesses where they got into Ashirwad, Sunfeast, right? Bingo, Classmate, Vivel, Savlon, pretty very very famous brands, right? So that is how they foresaw a change in the environment, and they are still sustaining as a market leaders or the big unicorn companies. Tata Motors, these people also, they were very very obsolete in their technology. They were into these old kind of cars like Tata Indica V2, Vista, Tata Sumo and all these things. So they have observed the technological environment, they got tied up with these big, or they took over these big tycoons, that is Jaguar and Land Rover, and now they are into the best models in the market. That is how they utilized the technological environment, as well as they even studied the competitors' environment, right? In your micro environment you get that, external micro, you get competitors. They studied that environment also, and they got tied up with these big businesses, and they altogether revamped their business. Now this is the module structure. Okay, fine. So in your first module, these are the topics you are going to study. So first, getting into the definition of business environment. Business environment encompasses the climate or set of conditions. What kind of conditions? Economic, social, political or institutional, in which businesses operate or business operations are conducted. So this definition is given by Arthur M. Weimer, right? So another definition was given by Keith Davis, who told business environment is the aggregate of all conditions, events and influences that surround and affect it. It, in the sense, the business, right? So nature of business environment can be explained using how many approaches? 3 approaches. So one was system approach, the other was social responsibility approach, and the other one is creative approach. So let's see, what is system approach? A system by which it produces goods and services for the satisfaction of wants by using inputs like raw materials, capital, labor, etc. from the environment. So here you are trying to explain the system that they are using to produce something. The way they procure raw materials, the way they convert that raw material into finished products, what kind of system they are using. Based on that, you are trying to understand the nature of the environment around them. And next one was social responsibility approach, where social responsibility towards several categories of the society, such as consumers, all other stakeholders, employees, government, etc. So you are understanding your business environment based on your responsibility towards society. In that approach, you are trying to understand the business environment, nature of business environment. And the next one was creative approach, where business gives shape to environment by facing the challenges and availing the opportunities in time. The business brings about changes in the society by giving attention to the needs of the people. So how creatively are you utilizing a challenge, or how creatively are you finding out an opportunity and utilizing it from the environment to satisfy the needs of the customers. So this approach is called as creative approach of understanding the nature of business environment. Some other ways of understanding business, nature of business environment, few other words to explain them. Always business environment is dynamic, which is always subjective to change. It is not same everywhere and every time. It keeps on changing. It is complex. It is not that easy to decode. It is very complex. Business environment is always complex. Very self-explanatory points, right? And it is very uncertain. You cannot predict it 100%. You cannot get 100% accuracy in predicting your business environment. You might be thinking about something and something else might happen in the environment. So that is why it is very uncertain, and it is very sensitive and delicate also, because every small change you can see bigger repercussions or bigger ripples of that small change that is happening. That is why it is very, very sensitive. Business environment is very sensitive. Any small change in the environment can make or break any big business. That is why it is very sensitive or delicate. And it has various effects on various factors, right? Different factors, like it might be on human resources, it might be on businesses, it might be on return on investment, it might be on profits, or it might be on your investments, it might be on employment. Many factors it will have an impact on. Whatever change in the business environment happens, right? So that change will have an impact on different factors of the business world, right? So that is another nature of business environment, and it can be understood always as internal and external environment, and similarly it can be understood as a controllable and uncontrollable environment. Anything that is internal is controllable, anything that is external, especially macro and external, is very, very uncontrollable, right? So this is the nature of business environment. And the last one is, it is always utilized for development. Whenever you study the business environment, the nature is you always utilize it for the development purpose. You never utilize business environment for destruction purposes or destructive purposes. It is always utilized for constructive purposes. That is another nature of your business environment. It is always helpful to you for something good, not for bad, right? So this is nature of business environment. Significance and importance. Why is business environment important? Why is it very, very significant to study this topic, business environment? Means it identifies opportunities. It will help you to identify opportunities that are underlying in the business world or in the environment. That is one importance. Why it is important, Andhra? It helps you to identify opportunities. That's why it is important. It helps you to identify threats and get some early warning signals about upcoming threats. That is why it is very important. It is even important because it helps you to tap useful resources. Some resources will be unutilized. We would not even know that these resources are there and we can utilize it. But by studying business environment, it will help you to utilize all that untapped resources, right? It is again important because it will help you to cope up with rapid changes. As we already saw, business environment is always dynamic. It keeps on changing. If you study that environment properly, it will help you to cope up with that changes. It will help you to go hand in hand with the changes, right? It will never allow you to become obsolete or outdated. It will always keep you updated in the business, right? And it is important because it builds a kind of reputation or a corporate image for your company. As and how you keep on updating with the current environment, you will always have a good image in the corporate world. You can always build a good corporate image in the business world. And that is why it is important to studying business environment, right? and it even helps you in continuous learning and continuous improvement of performance, right? You keep on studying the environment, you will be going on improving in your performance. You keep on studying the environment, you will be going on learning something new. That is why it is important. It will help us to keep updated. It will help us to keep learning new things, right? That is why studying business environment is very, very significant, or it is very, very important, right? And what are the objectives? Why are we studying business environment, or why will a company study its business environment? ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಕಂಪನಿ ಅದರ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟನ್ನು ಯಾಕೆ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿಯಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ business environment? Means it is always a knowledge of information. If you study business environment, you gain more knowledge, which is always helpful. Knowledge, is there any instance where you can tell that knowledge is not helpful to us? There is no instance. It is always the best jewelry that you can have, knowledge, or the best gold that you can have is knowledge, right? So studying business environment will always help you to keep yourself updated and gain more and more knowledge of different kinds of information from the business world, right? That is an objective of studying business environment. And it always helps us to make decisions in the organizations. That is another objective. Why are you studying business environment? To make decisions. That is an objective. To make major decisions in the organization, right? And to make policies, to make different policies in your organization, you have to study business environment. I told you, why is the weekend 2 days in a few places, and why is it only 1 day in a few places? Because they have studied the environment around them, and they got to know that I have to make a HR policy in such a way that I am giving 2 days off to my employees. If some environments does not demand it, they give only 1 day off. So this is a very minute example, but there are many of such policies that can be made by studying business environment. That is an objective. Why business environment? To make policies. And why again business environment? For technological planning. How I have to upgrade my technology in my organization. In order to plan with respect to all the technological things in your organization, you have to study business environment. To survive in the business world, you have to study business environment. If you don't study, you remain outdated. If you remain outdated, people will not bother about your business. Then obviously you will sink, you will drown, right? So in order to survive, you have to study business environment. So once again, what is the objective? To survive, right? So all these things were the objectives of business environment. Next, types of business environment. You guys are getting ready, but fast ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, because this is how recap should be done. ನಾ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಲೋ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದ್ರೆ again we need 1 week. Is that okay? You guys are able to catch it, right? Yes. Fine, good. So what are the different types of business environment that we saw? In business environment, we saw 2 types. One was internal, that is micro, smaller in size, and external, that is macro, larger in size. In smaller size or in the internal environment within the organization, what all do we find? Value systems of the organization, right? What value system does your organization follow? That is one of the internal environment. What are your vision, mission and objectives? That is another internal environment that we study. And what is the structure of the organization? Is it centralized or is it decentralized? What kind of structure are we following? So that also comes under the internal environment. And what is the corporate culture that we are following? Or what is the corporate culture that we are maintaining? What are other companies in our corporate world? What is the culture that they are maintaining, and in comparison, what is the culture that we are maintaining in our organization? That corporate culture also comes under your internal or micro environment. And the last one is human resources. All the employees that come under your organization or who are working within your organization are also a part of your internal environment. All these things are smaller in size, that is why all these things are micro, right? So in external macro, even though external environment is bigger, there are 2 categories in that. In big also there is something small and something big. So you have 2 categories, one is external micro and external macro. So in external micro, आचे कड़े out of your environment, smaller things. What are those things? One is suppliers, all the people who supply raw materials to you. So that is your external environment. If these people fail, your entire business fails. The quality of your product goes. If the raw materials are of good quality only, you can give a good quality finished product. Otherwise, no, right? So these people who come under external environment are also very useful for us. Very, they make a lot of sense. Studying suppliers also makes a lot of sense. And customers. Your customers are outside your organization, but still they are smaller in size. And if you are not studying your customers, you cannot run the business at all. The first thing that you have to study is your customers only, right? So who are your customers? What kind of customers are there? What is the age group of your customers? What is the income level of your customers? All these demographic things about customers comes under external environment, especially external micro. Intermediaries, all the middlemen like wholesalers, retailers, agents, distributors. These people also contribute a lot to your business. So you have to know their environment also. What is going on in their environment? If you are not aware, then it is difficult for you to ensure that your product is reaching end users properly. So these are the delivery people. These people ensure that whatever product you are producing is reaching the end user in a proper format. Right? So studying them also becomes very important and is a type of business environment. Competitors, another type of business environment that you will study, right? So all the people who are competitors to you, if you study your competitors, you will be able to frame a lot of your policies in your business by looking at your competitors. And you will even understand, if your competitors are failing, you will understand what I should not do. If they are successful, you will understand what you have to do. So studying your competitors also is very integral part of your business environment, right? That is also one of the type. External macro, economic environment, where entire economy of the society where you are staying in or where you are running your business. It might be your place, your town, your state, your country. So you should know how is the economy of that particular area, which is very bigger environment, which is outside your business organization, but it is very vast. It covers the entire area where you are doing your business. That is why it is external macro. Right? This is also one of the important types of environment. Social and cultural environment also. You should understand the society in which you are doing business. You should understand that society completely. You should understand the culture of that society completely. Right? We took the example of KFC where they entered with beef and pork meat in India and they were rejected by Indians because they failed to understand the social and cultural environment of our country, and later they made a study and came back with all chicken and mutton kind of things in the menu, and they are a big success now, right? Another McD, they also came up with a lot of their pizza and varieties of burgers, and which was not that successful, and later they came with this aloo tikki and all in their menu, which is not there in their US menu. If you go to McD US, you don't find aloo tikki. If you come to India only, you find Mecca aloo tikki. So how did they design their product? By studying social and cultural environment only, right? So that is also one of the important type of environment. Political and legal environment. Studying the political environment or legal environment also helps us to design our business or run our business in a better way, right? Like we saw this surrogative advertisement. I told you, how these alcohol and tobacco manufacturers sell their products. See, our legal environment will not allow for selling or advertising tobacco products or alcohol products. So they sell it in different way. They say that we are selling Kingfisher soda. They advertise Kingfisher soda on one hand, and they ensure that people are remembering Kingfisher beer. Right? They advertise we are selling Vimal Pan Masala. Anyone can eat it after dinner. But on the other hand, they are trying to remind people that we are selling gutka. You can purchase gutka and have the tobacco. So that is where these people have understood legal environment. If they have not understood, if they have directly told to people openly in the advertisement that come drink beer, eat this gutka and all these things, they would have been in jail today. Because they have understood legal environment, they are playing a safe game. Correct or no? Right? So that is the importance of political and legal environment. And the next one is technological environment, where one has to understand that any changes in the technology in the business world, any new technology that has arrived in the business world, they should know about it. Only then they will be aware of new technology and they can adopt new technology in their business, or they can, if they are unable to adopt new technology also, they can learn how do I survive in the business in spite of this new technology. I told you, right, very recently, idli ATMs have come in Bangalore. So what about these people who cook idli? If they know that these ATMs have come, they will plan at least, how do I survive in spite of this technology? Even though I cannot afford this technology in my business, how can I survive in spite of having this technology in the business world? They can plan accordingly, right? So that is another importance, where technological environment is also very important type of business environment. Next one is demographic environment, where you will be studying the population in detail. How many people are there in the selected area? How many men are there? How many women are there? What is the men and women ratio? How many literates are there? How many illiterates are there? How many people come under low level income? How many people come under middle level income, higher level income? Right? So wherever you talk about population, wherever you are talking about the number of people, then you are talking about demographic environment. And the last one is natural environment, where you talk about things that are already there in the nature. What is the climatic condition? What is the geographical location? What is the soil condition over there? Right? What are the natural resources available in a particular environment? Studying these things are also helping you a lot in business, right? And that is why JSW is located nearby place where natural resources are available. They would have located their business in Ballari also, which is actually developing. But why did they choose Sorangal itself? That was a strategic location where natural resources, transportation, everything was convenient for them. So they studied the natural resources and they set up their business over there, right? So that's how business environments types can be understood. And the next topic is all about analysis and forecasting. How do you analyze business environment and how do you forecast it, right? So for analyzing business environment or forecasting business environment, you have two techniques. One is qualitative forecasting technique and another one is quantitative forecasting technique. So in qualitative forecasting technique, one is sales force composite, where you will be consulting all your sales people to understand what customers are requiring, because those are the people, sales force are the people who are regularly in touch with customers. So they will be knowing what the pulse of the customer is. What are they expecting from your business? What are they not liking in your business? All these things sales force will be knowing. So understanding your, analyzing your business environment, especially how your customers are reacting to your business, it becomes very easy when you analyze or when you consult your sales force. So this method of analyzing business environment, or this method of analyzing or forecasting what might happen in future, is called as sales force composite. And the next method that we have is customer evaluation. You directly evaluate your customers. You consult your customers, you take a sample of a few customers in a particular area, you directly talk to them, or you directly have a questionnaire kind of interaction with your customer, where you will be understanding what customers need, how are their needs changing. If you find that your customers' needs and preferences or their attitudes are changing, according to the change in their attitude, you can change the way you are running your business. So this is also another important technique of analyzing and forecasting your business environment, correct? And the next one is executive opinion, where you will be consulting with a few executives from your company itself, from different departments. You will collect a pool of people who are managing a few departments and you will consult them. Their opinions you will take into consideration to analyze or forecast the business environment. And the next one is Delphi technique, where you will be getting opinions from experts in the industry. And one peculiar thing in this is, every expert who is giving you opinion will not be knowing who else are giving their opinion. So there is very less chance of bias in this particular technique, right? So you will be getting all the information or inputs from experts in the entire industry, not only from your country, not only from your company, right? So that technique is called as Delphi technique. So hope qualitative forecasting techniques here are over. Still one is there? That is anticipatory survey, right? So we understood how you make a survey well in advance, predicting some change in the environment, in the future, in the business environment. If there is any change, what should I do? Now only you predict and do some surveys well in advance. Such kind of surveys will help you to change your business according to the changes in the business environment in the coming future. So that's why these things are called as anticipatory surveys, where you are doing it well in advance. Before even some change happens in the business environment, you are already ready with the survey. What change might happen, you already anticipated some change and you already have a plan in hand. That kind of survey is called as anticipatory survey. All these things give us qualitative information or help us to analyze the environment in a qualitative way, help us to forecast the environment in terms of quality, but never in terms of quantity. That's why these come under qualitative forecasting techniques. And next comes quantitative forecasting techniques. Going over right? No right? Single Vira? Good. So quantitative forecasting techniques, it is time series analysis where whatever had happened in the past and whatever is happening in the present will help you to predict what will happen in the future. Right? So that kind of analysis is called as time series analysis. Usually trend analysis is done to understand what was the trend, what is the trend. Based on these two things, what will be the trend tomorrow. That you will be able to understand. That is time series analysis. Regression modeling, where you will be having two types of variables, where independent variables will be there in your study and dependent variables will be there in your study. So any change in the independent variable, what impact it will have on the dependent variable, that you will be able to analyze and judge. That kind of technique is called as regression modeling. Next one is econometric modeling, where you will be understanding everything about the economy part of it, economic part of it, only financial parts of it. You are not analyzing how much will be the demand or how many people will be loyal to our business. These things you are not forecasting. You are forecasting all terminologies that are related to the economies of your business. Maybe you will be analyzing how much I may make profits in the coming future. What would be my return on investment in the coming future? Or how much might I invest in the coming future? If the business environment is changing in this direction, in the future, to cope up with this changing business environment, how much will I have to invest? How much will I have to spend money? So anything that is hovering around the economic concepts in your business, you are trying to analyze economic concepts of your business, then you are doing econometric modeling. It is similar to regression. But you are concerned only about economic part of your business. In regression, it might be any variables. How am I advertising and how is the customer understanding my advertisement? Or how is the customer's loyalty in the advertisement? This can be done in regression modeling. How am I advertising is independent variable. How is the loyalty of the customer changing based on my advertisement is the dependent variable. That is the regression modeling. If you do the same modeling with money involved in it, that becomes econometric modeling. Clear? Fine. And this is about your quantitative forecasting techniques. Next you have environmental scanning. First of all, to scan environment, you have three approaches: systematic approach, ad hoc approach and process to form approach. We will understand these three things after we understand what is environmental scanning. So what is this environmental scanning? The process by which organizations monitor their relevant environment to identify opportunities and threats affecting their business is known as environmental scanning. So approaches to environmental scanning, first one is systematic approach, which means you will always have a systematic way to understand or to scan your environment. What after what? After which environment I have to scan which environment? You always have a proper prioritized systematic plan for that already in place. So you are going according to that plan to scan the environment. That approach is called a systematic approach. Ad hoc approach means whatever situation demands, however situation comes, based on that situation you will decide which environment I have to scan, how I have to scan the environment. So you are doing the scanning of environment based on the situation. You are not having a systematic way. However the situation throws challenge at you, however the environment throws challenge at you, you will take that challenge, scan whichever environment is relevant and then come up with your results. So that is ad hoc approach. Last one is processed form approach, where already few ways of environmental scanning are tested and verified. Few companies would have already scanned few things. It is already processed form. The data that you are getting to scan the environment is already processed, right? The raw thing that you are getting from the environment is called as data. After processing, it is called as information. So whatever you are doing here is, you are not collecting raw data, you are collecting processed information and then analyzing the environment. If I am into watch manufacturing company, I will study Titan company first. So what all environment they have scanned, what is the result that they have got. So I will use that result to scan my environment. So the data what I am getting is already processed. That's why it is called as processed form approach. So this is also one way of scanning business environment, right? The next one is benefits of environmental analysis. Why is environmental analysis useful or beneficial for us? One is, it helps in achieving all our business objectives. It helps in identifying threats. It helps in identifying what are the things that are happening in the market, what is the trend in the market. It helps in identifying threats that are inherent in an opportunity. What are the threats that are hiding in an opportunity? We will just be looking at the good side of the mountain. The other side of it will be having a lot of threats in it. So we will just be sensing opportunity. Oh, there is an opportunity. But if you get into that opportunity, if you start analyzing it completely, you will find what threats are hiding in that opportunity. So that is what is another benefit of analyzing business environment. You will identify what are the threats involving in an opportunity or inherent in an opportunity. It will help you to forecast the future. This is actually wrong, man. You should not write forecasting future. It is just forecasting. Because you will forecast future only. No one can forecast past. So it is actually wrong. I am sorry for that. Only it is forecasting. It will help you in forecasting. Right? And it will help you in converting challenges or threats into opportunities. That is another benefit of scanning or analyzing environment. If you have a proper analysis of environment, whatever threats you get, whatever challenges you get, you can turn that into opportunity. That is where you can find gold everywhere. The quote that we saw. Right? That is another benefit. And the limitations of environmental analysis. Limitations is boundaries of environmental analysis. What boundaries do we have in this particular concept? Means, one is lack of forewarning of unforeseen events. Few things that might happen tomorrow, we will not have any warning, any even iota of information also we will not be having. All of a sudden some changes happen which are unexpected. So that is one limitation. How much ever intense environment scanning you do, few things are uncertain. You will not even have a warning of also, you will not even have a single warning of what will happen in future. So such changes might happen. That is one limitation. And no assurance as to organizational effectiveness. If you study business environment, your organizational effectiveness 100% is going to increase, and so there is no assurance. Like if you complete your graduation, 100% you will earn 1 lakh per month, and there is no assurance. It depends on your capacity. Learning and getting a degree, okay, everyone will have that. But based on your skill, based on your capacity, based on how you use it, your future gets decided. That is why there is no assurance. Even in this case also, whatever kind of business you are running, if you are doing environmental scanning, there is no assurance that you will grow. You should use the information that you have digged by scanning the environment. Only then you will grow. Correct? So that is one limitation. And whatever information you get is not fully reliable. Sometimes the information that you get might be biased. Sometimes the trend in the market itself would be different, and information that you will get also would be different. So you cannot completely rely on the information that you get when you are scanning the business environment. You should be a little careful over there. That is another limitation. And there is absence of a strategic approach. There is no proper strategic approach to scan business environment. We saw 3 approaches obviously. What are those three approaches? System approach, systematic approach, ad hoc approach, and process to form approach. Those three approaches are to understand nature of business environment. These three approaches that we saw just now is to scan the environment or analyze the environment. Systematic approach, ad hoc approach, and process to form approach. Even though these three approaches are there, we don't have a strategic approach. Means there is no competitive approach in this. You have chosen that approach, I will choose this approach over you and I will win in the competition. There is nothing like that. So that strategic way of studying business environment or competitive way of studying business environment, that approach is not there. Right? That is one limitation. So after all these limitations and after all these concepts that we have studied, we come to the end of first module.